So, Melissa, I bet the audience wants to know how can they engage with the Healthspan Action Coalition?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I would say go to our website, healthspanaction.org, and subscribe to our amazing newsletter. We have Eve Harold, world-renowned science writer, as the editor of our newsletter. Kevin McMahon does our beautiful website and our design, and we have Joey Dawson doing our social media and other communications. So we have lots of ways for you to connect with us. I absolutely recommend that people sign up for our newsletter, which is the Healthspan Compass, and you can do that right on our website. Again, that's healthspanaction.org. And follow us on social media. On social media, not only are we sharing things that we may have created or experienced, but we also do what I consider, and I can say this because I don't do the work, excellent work of tracking what's happening in the longevity and health span world, and still also really regenerative medicine. And as we've talked about, those two fields are really converging and overlapping and are interrelated. We do an excellent job of following the news, the scientific news and other news, and putting those in social media and on a page on our website as well. So we really, over the course of a couple of years, have created some excellent resources for anybody that wants to learn about this field and what they can do themselves or to support the field. And it absolutely is done in layperson's terms because that's who we are. We're not scientists. We know a bit about science and how it's funded and how it needs to be carried out, but we're not scientists. We're not clinicians. I know that you are a scientist, Junaid, but those of us at Healthspan Action Coalition are not. But we also appreciate how important it is to communicate about science and scientific progress and medical research in layperson's terms so that people can learn about how their lives intersect with this information and this activity. So our website is a great resource. Like I said, subscribe to the HealthSpan Compass, an excellent newsletter, and follow us on our great social media channels.
I have a little to add to that excellent summary Melissa just provided. We are engaged with a lot of conferences around the world that we look at. We invite them into the coalition. Very often we have speakers or parts of our advisory board individuals that are held in very high regard as speakers on these conferences. So if you want to keep up to date on what the editors of the Healthspan Compass and our leadership thinks about where you might learn more, please take a look at the upcoming events and conferences that we post up that are a part of the coalition. Those gatherings are very, very important. Just in a few days on our current calendar, we have the brain mapping conference in Los Angeles, a biohacking expo that overlaps in Miami, and a tremendous webinar on something called the Thrive Act is being displayed by the Catalyst Institute on policy issues. And I also want to add, if I may, another component that we haven't discussed that's part of the Healthspan Action Coalition are our advisory boards. What we are building is actually a world-class think tank. Now, we are just in the process of activating those boards, but we have them related to industry. Science, for example, we're very proud of the co-chairs, Camillo Ricordi, the world-renowned stem cell and diabetes researcher. The other co-chair is Jean Loring. Jean Loring, of course, with Aspen Neuroscience, is one of the leaders in iPSCs and is preserving the northern white rhino, working with the Frozen Zoo Project, a brilliant, brilliant scientist, Anthony Atala, the leader of the Wake Forest Institute for Regenerative Medicine, Dennis Clegg, who's one of the great eye researchers, and more. And we are also have a legal policy and ethics advisory board. And hopefully we will be putting together some really important programming on health span policy, which right now with a new administration in the United States and some confusion as what the crystal ball, what the future will hold, policy is going to be very, very important. And one of our specialties is bringing in some of the leading legal experts, the major law firms on the planet Earth, global law firms, to opine and educate not only the organizations that are part of the coalition, but this information is going to be made free to the entire community. We have to get on top of this because the greatest scientists in the world, science in the world, isn't going to progress if it isn't going to turn into some sort of advantage, a medical advantage, a therapeutic advantage, right? And if we can't get these things into the public, then it becomes a theoretical exercise. Enough of the theory. There's enough human suffering that might benefit from all of this. So the Healthspan Action Coalition has been accused, I've been accused, Bernie, you're trying to boil the ocean. But in my 22 years of advocacy and other projects I've worked on, I think we can boil the ocean one bucket at a time. And we wouldn't have the 230 to 250 organizations now in our coalition if we weren't able to find like-minded people that want to move this, all of this forward. So we certainly welcome organizations. You don't have to be a nonprofit organization, cutting-edge companies to be a part of the coalition. You basically send an email to Melissa or to myself, Melissa at healthspanaction.org or Bernard at healthspanaction.org. We will set up a call. We will talk about what your organization is doing and what your company is doing and what your needs are and connect the dots. And if it is a meritorious project applicable to what we're working on, we welcome your organization into a coalition. There are no fees involved with that. Now, we are, for those technically minded, we are a 501c3 IRS nonprofit organization. You have a place on the website where one can donate to our worthwhile cause to help pay the hardworking staff and to keep the lights on for our coalition. And we certainly welcome that. But it's not a prerequisite to being involved with us. So it's really open for business and open to network type of organization.
I want to thank you both for sharing all that, and I want to share a little thing with everybody as well. So, I had the pleasure of participating in the World Stem Cell Summit back in 2023 in Winston-Salem. Bernie allowed me to give a presentation about using space as a platform for health span breakthroughs. It was the first time I had done anything like it, and it was nerve-wracking, but we pulled it off. But I want to say that event left a lasting mark on me. Number one, I'd never been to Winston-Salem before. I thought it was a fantastic town. I'd never been to the Wake Forest Institute of Regenerative Medicine, and when I toured the facility, I was blown away by the things that they were working on. I thought this stuff was science fiction, but when I started talking to the scientists there, I'm like, I can't believe they're actually working on this. This is absolutely amazing. I wish I could have spent the whole day there. I couldn't. Maybe next time. But the people I met at that conference, Bernie, were outstanding. I mean, it was a class act. That whole section right there, absolutely amazing. I feel like some of the major breakthroughs are going to come from that region. It's so unassuming to many folks, but it is a powerhouse. And Dr. Attal had a chance to take a little picture with him on the street. He was so kind to take that picture with me, and I spoke to him briefly, kind of just thanked him really for what he did. And he was busy. He's always busy. The things that he's working on are exactly what we're all speaking about here. Breakthroughs that are going to change lives. And so the programming aspect, top notch. I was just even till this day, I think about that those couple of days in June. Memorable moments, man. I mean, I had a great time in Winston-Salem and at the conference. Fantastic. So with that, I just want to have a couple of parting thoughts. So you don't have to be a scientist an investor to be a part of this. Policy, education, and awareness, they all matter just as much, right? So this movement, it's growing fast, right? The more people get involved, the bigger impact we can make. This is this is a movement that includes all of us. So when I say we, it's not just us three here. It's everybody. It's whoever wants to be a part of it. You have a role to play and you can play a role. So just keep that in mind. If you're up to it, go for it. Okay, well, we're coming down to the final thought section, and this is where we're going to wrap things up. I hope you enjoyed this podcast and this discussion, what we like to call it. I hope you learned a lot and you're gearing to go and ready to just start taking action, which is what everything's all about. You got to learn something, you actually have to apply it. And I'm going to have some parting thoughts here. So, Bernie, what's one thing you'd tell someone who wants to live a longer and healthier life? What would you tell them?
Don't forget it. Don't forget you can have an ice cream cone every once in a while. Look, I would tell them you have the capacity to control your own destiny. And no matter what shape you're in, no matter what age you're in, you should be able to do something to improve your health, to press on. And if the day comes and you can't, there are others that are out there that are probably there because they love you and can help you move on, whatever is to come. My thought is, even in the bleakest times, to keep the candle lit and find hope. And that is the most powerful word, hope. And it's carried my own life and my family and friends forward. And to be able to provide a hand or a word of encouragement, it's all things that are necessary. It's just not what's going to come out of a test tube. It's about having the right spirit. So that might not be the answer you expected, but that's sort of the mantra that I have.
Well, Melissa, same thing to you. If there's one thing you tell someone who wants to live longer, healthier life, what would that be?
Sure. And I would say if they have the wherewithal, become a more informed citizen on everything that we've been talking about. And if you happen to be a scientist, regardless of the point that you are at in your career, you might be a very early career scientist, you still have a lot more scientific knowledge than most of the rest of us ever will. And that's a gift that you can share and provide to other people. And if you're not a scientist, take it upon yourself, if you really are serious about wanting to live longer, take it upon yourself to learn what that means. What is the science around what we can do lifestyle wise? That's not too difficult to find these days. What is difficult is wading through the noise and making sure that what you're doing is actually evidence-based science. But it's pretty clear that we need to exercise and we need to eat a healthy diet, and there isn't too much debate really other than on the margins about what a healthy diet is these days. And we need to get good sleep. We can do all those things, but to really, really address your own health span, become better informed about what that means. It's not just lifestyle things, although you can take responsibility for those, but it's also supporting the science and the policies that will allow innovation to move forward and hopefully drive us toward having better treatments, interventions, cures for diseases or just for aging in general as a monolithic concept for the people that want to think about it in that way. Potentially those interventions are coming too, things that we will be able to say, taking this pill increases somebody's lifespan, right? We may get there. We may get there. But meanwhile, if you really want to mind your own health span, become better informed. And a very good place to start, I'll go back to it, is our website, healthspanaction.org, the Healthspan Action Coalition's website, our newsletter, our social media. It is geared toward you. You will be able to understand what we're talking about in our newsletter. If you want to learn about this field, it's a good, trusted place to start. There's so much information, and I am thankful every day that we have Eve as an amazing science writer and editor of this newsletter, cutting through for me what would be a lot of noise in terms of what to cover in these regular newsletters, and read in depth on some of it, but go somewhere like healthspanaction.org that you know you can trust to just keep track of what's happening, because things are moving quickly.
Very well said. Very well said. I want to thank you both for participating in this discussion. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did as well. And I know the audience is craving, the second episode. But all I'm going to say is this: Healthspan is quality of life, and at the end of the day, it's worth it. This is Junaid Mian signing off. Till next time.